Okay, so everyone, welcome to the December 2020 Doylestown Township Pension Advisory Committee. You're ready to start. So welcome everybody. Doesn't look like we have any visitors. Joe Delicott said he may not be able to make it today, but looks like we have everyone else. So let's move on to approval of the prior meeting minutes. I have at least one minor edit on the bottom of the first page, second to last line. It said rule, and I think it means roll, right? Roll is an unpaid volunteer.
I had three very brief edits. Bottom of page 2, comment attributable to me. It should be a reference/policy benchmark, and typically capitalize the R in reference and the P in policy. That actually comes up again on page 4, top. Again, comment attributable to me. Same reference. And there was also a it says it's a reference to U.S. equities in that same line. It should just be plain equities. And delete the U.S. part. And in the middle of page 4, again, a comment from me. It should read equity and fixed income information. That's it.
Any other edits?
Can
Corrections?
you just go back to your, I'm sorry, I was trying to find the page. Your edit, I'm sorry.
Whose? Oh, mine or whose?
Yours. I got
Mine,
all of Tom's, but
Yeah, it's on the bottom of page 1. Second to last line, it says suggestions in there. It says rule. It should be roll, right? Roll, R-O-L-E, as unpaid volunteers.
okay.
Okay, any other changes? All right, have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second,
Yes.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye,
Okay,
sorry.
okay, so the minutes are approved. All right, so moving on to old business. We have the investment policy, which I think is looking really, really good. So, Tom, you want to open us up on this?
sure. We are getting there, as you alluded to. The changes from our last meeting are in red, and they're few at this point, so that's always a good sign that we're getting closer. But I'll just run through them and review. Page 1, first paragraph, introduction. I added basically Board of Supervisors into that line, and also extracted the direct reference to DK Breed, keeping the advisor agnostic, so to speak. So I think I've captured what I heard in terms of Doylestown Township Pension Advisory Board, Board of Supervisors, all in one breath, so to speak, as the investor. So that was the first change. The second, next paragraph, I offered to add the word voluntary in there, calling the PAC a voluntary group acting as advocate for the investor. I was reluctant to use the word advisor again instead of advocate, because we have numerous references through the document to advisor, and I didn't want to make confusion. I think advocate is a close enough synonym, and but I did add the voluntary part there, which was something that we discussed came up. Page 2.
Yeah, before you move on, I got a question for you / You and or Stephanie. And in that second line, you say pension advisory board. Is that referring to our committee? Is that referring to the people who are on the actually the pension committee?
There is a pension advisory board, is there not?
Yeah. I just want to make sure. Well, yeah, Stephanie, is that what it's called?
Yeah, you're the pension advisory committee.
Yeah, and
Yep.
then what about the pension committee? There's a pension committee, right?
No, I think we kind of did away with, it used to be a pension advisory board, which were the members of the Board of Supervisors.
Right.
And I think with this, we kind of did away with that and created the pension advisory committee
Okay.
and then the Board of Supervisors.
Okay. So again, I guess that should be changed to the pension advisory committee
Committee.
then, right?
Yeah,
Pension advisory committee?
committee,
Yeah,
not
That's-
board,
that's-
yeah.
That's us.
Okay, so that is us. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now another question for Stephanie is, who do you think? I mean, at the end of the day, the council for the township, the solicitor, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Is we'll read through this, but who in your view is your best guess at who the investor is? Is it the township? Or is it, I'm not sure if it's the supervisors. I think it's really the township's pension fund. So you know what I'm saying?
It's the town, it would be the township. I mean,
It
the
would be the
solicitor would
township.
have to.
It'd be the
yeah,
township, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it would
should
not be
that-
us.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be us and it wouldn't be the board of supervisors. I think it should be the township, right?
Well, ultimately, the Board of Supervisors has the fiduciary responsibility,
They
Over
do,
the
but
entity.
who's the investor, do you think?
It's the entity.
the
It's
entity,
The one
yeah.
who ones that owns it, yeah, so that
Right.
should be the
So
township.
they're all kind of, the board and the township are one and the same at the end of the day.
Right. But the township technically owns the asset, but whereas the board of supervisors doesn't.
Mhm.
Okay, that was my question or point. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Page 2, under investment objectives, the second paragraph. I introduced the consultant in there, which is basically Kennedy, unidentified specifically, but I put in as determined by the plan's actuarial consultant, which, as we know, is Kennedy, but consider them the consultant. And then I amended the next line to basically the investor, under the advice of the PAC advisor and consultant, has adopted the discount rate migration path. So basically has all of us on the same page, if you will.
Yep.
So I brought in the consultant into that, and that seemed to be relevant from our last discussion.
Yep.
I think I got the dates right, the years. Again, I've been a little confused, and but I did make those adjustments as we see there in red.
Yeah, and Ken sent you some wording, right, which you incorporated?
I don't recall.
I thought you did, right, Ken? Ken Wallace?
Yeah, he did. I remember that.
Okay.
I can I can take a quick look.
I thought I sent him the information.
Yeah, I thought you did too, but let me,
Tom, if you need it again, just let me know.
Okay, I do now. I do recall seeing it, but I didn't. Let me go back and take a look at that. Yeah.
Right.
Actually, beyond that, there is really nothing. There's page 5, fourth paragraph from the top. We were talking about the rebalancing. If the weighting varies by, and 5% was the number we agreed on, and so that was inserted. And then after that, that's it. I did remove I would call the excess language in the back. And again, which all of this would be subject to council taking a look, and not surprising if there maybe or would be added language on their recommendation. So that's basically it.
All right, I had a thought on page 6 is talking about, it's the second sentence, I guess. Additionally, the advisor will provide an annual review. I think we want this to happen, a full year review that we want to happen during the March meeting, right? What are you guys' thoughts?
Remember this particular part came from a conversation you and I had. And I thought I captured that.
Yeah, I might have been thinking incorrectly, but now thinking about it now is that probably, I think what we wanted to do was to have at least 2 meetings a year, formal meetings with Breedy. One in March, and then the other one in August. And then on top of that, we thought it would be a good idea, and maybe it's redundant with the March one, that the advisor provides meets and presents to the Board of Supervisors. Colleen, what do you think?
I don't have my notes in front of me. I remember talking about it, but I don't recall how exactly we're going to lay it out, that we do subcommittee and then a separate meeting, you're saying, for her to present, or any advisor at any point to present?
Well, I think the one we're all in agreement probably is the August one would just be us, right? That's a mid-year review.
Mm-hmm.
And then, maybe the unanswered question, and that, the unanswered question is that we, or something for further discussion is certainly, there'll be an annual review that'll be more comprehensive. So the question is whether we want, do we want to have, does our committee want to have an annual review with her and then have Deb present to the Board of Supervisors? Because I think she should present to the Board of Supervisors, my personal opinion,
Yeah,
at least once a year.
yep.
So what do you think, if you were running a railroad, how would you want to
I
work?
mean, I would say even if you do a February meeting formally with the Board of Supervisors, she or the advisor can review plan year end 12/31. She'll have data by, through February, through 12/31, and be able to present by February. I don't know how that coincides with the supervisor's normal annual calendar, where if February is a heavy lift for other things. But to me, to do a calendar year review is helpful in terms of, context. And then
But
do
would-
another one with.
Yeah, would we want to
meeting in
have our
July.
own, would we want to have our own meeting with her, do you think, or?
Yeah,
just
we
for-
would do one in July.
No,
yeah.
no, I'm talking about a full year, or just keep it to July and just keep it at that.
Well, I mean, we could do one in February before she actually presents to the board, like do a subcommittee, or the PAC committee, listens to her, and then we get her on the board meeting for the same data. And then do a mid-year with the PAC in July. For June.
Right. Bob, what do you think?
I'm wondering if we bring her in March before one of the supervisors' meetings. We may have to change our meeting just so she comes down here once, meets with us, which will probably be a more detailed discussion, and makes a presentation to the Board of Supervisors
On the same
at
day?
at their regular meeting.
So is this all on the same date, Bob?
Yeah, I'm looking really at it as convenience for her, if the Board of Supervisors is meeting at 7, maybe she meets with us, we change our meeting to 5 o'clock or whatever. Or if they're meeting 5:30, that we meet, earlier that day. Kind of change our meeting in March to.
I gotcha. Tom, what do you think?
I think we should meet with her before.
Mhm.
It could be the same day, perhaps, but certainly before she speaks to the Board of Supervisors. Because otherwise, we don't have knowledge, and she's speaking to the Board of Supervisors without us being informed.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that. That's why I thought maybe our meeting would be, first more comprehensive and then an overview for the board afterward.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm being misunderstood, but I definitely think we should meet with her before she presents to the Board of Supervisors. I'm in complete agreement with that
Right.
statement. Ed, I think you're talking, but I can't hear
Ed,
you.
I think you're mute.
All of a sudden, yeah, can't hear you.
He's mute. Can you hear
Ed,
us?
If you go down to your microphone, Ed, on the bottom left, click on that little arrow and select a microphone or test your microphone. If you can see those options. No.
Yeah, this is what I learned from the elementary kids at Central Bucks when they can't hear the teacher. They do this.
Uh-huh.
I think he backed out of the recording, so why don't we just take a minute and wait for him to log back in? I'll keep an eye out for him. Here he comes. We still can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
We share screen with Ed so Colleen can show him where
Yeah, I'll show
to
you
go.
here.
I know where to go.
Oh,
there you
you're
go.
there.
We
I
heard
can hear
we heard
you.
Okay, we can hear you.
All right. Yeah, that's weird. Must be a connection. I don't know.
Weird.
All right, so,
Well, I would say, and I've only been with all of you for the last year, but obviously March was the annual review and August was the mid-year review. And I think that's fine and plenty for our interest, but we certainly need to have our own meeting with the advisor. How we fit in the Board of Supervisor meeting is something else, but I think the priority certainly has to be us vetting the performance and other issues with the advisor at those two dates.
what about this? What about we meet with Deb in February? Does that give her nothing? The committee PAC meets with her in February, and then she comes. And we do that remotely, and then she comes down and meets with the Board of Supervisor in March, because that way it gives us a little time to prepare and think about what she's told us.
If she's ready with the performance in
Yeah, because I think
February, so that's
Ken, what's your recollection of when we get those reports?
I mean, the board used to meet when it was the Board of Supervisors as the pension advisory. The advisor would meet with the board, usually the first meeting in February, and give sort of a year-end wrap-up of how the year went. I think it's fine if the PAC would want to meet with as the advisor next year in February. And how you do that, obviously, we're still going to be in the midst of COVID, so certainly it would be by Zoom. And then the advisor would come to present to the Board of Supervisors in one of their March meetings.
Yeah, I think I like that.
okay.
And I think this is obviously can be subject to change in the
Yeah.
future when we all get more on the same page with the
But
investment.
it sets a template. It sets a template out there.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
So change March to February for our purpose, for the PAC purposes, in addition to August. And change an annual review in March directly to the, I'll change investor to Board of Supervisors.
Right.
Okay.
Ed, could I just make a comment?
Sure.
Page 6 at the bottom, authorization, where
Yeah.
it says investor, Doylestown Township Pension Advisory Board. Am I right? The Pension Advisory Board needs revising there.
Yep, good
Yeah,
catch.
just remove it. Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Just
point.
remove it, maybe, I think.
Yep. And it's basically the township at large. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So I think we're good with this, everybody, right?
I will go back and reread Ken's email that I do remember seeing, and we'll do a final go round on this document, and we should be there.
Great. Now, regarding your question about the years, Ken Wallace, I think he's got the years right? The years where the discount rate changes, Ken?
Yes, he does.
Okay, great. All right, so if we factor in Ken's wording, then I think we'll.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. Okay,
So
excellent.
the path from here would be, we like it. We have to send it to, council, I would assume, right?
Mm.
For
Yeah, well,
review and
say,
then put
Stephanie.
it forth to the board for approval.
So my suggestion would be that once it's in a final form, Ed, a memo from you to the Board of Supervisors, copying the committee with the attached draft proposal, and request that you've been, just give a little background. You've been working on reworking the IPS. Here's the draft. At this time, I'd like to submit it for review by the board and request that perhaps the township solicitor also review the document to make sure it's, copacetic legally.
Yeah, okay. All
For lack
right.
of a better-
That would be good. But I think also I'm thinking we probably would want to, at some point, take the opportunity for an education, maybe a 15-minute presentation to the board, just to explain literally what it is. What do you think?
And we can do that.
That might be the perfect opportunity.
All right.
Good. I mean, shouldn't take long to explain that this is just,
No, I would, so I mean, is it, or am I overthinking it?
I think it's
Should
a
we-
courtesy. It's a
Is there a
courtesy.
need to present or not?
Well,
I
we
think it's a
do-
good idea.
I think you
Yeah.
can come and, it's a real quick cameo, as they say, Here's the document. We've been working on this. We want to give it to you for review. And, we'd certainly like the solicitor to weigh in on it. I mean,
Okay,
that's what I think your next step is. And it would be the third Tuesday of January or one of the February, first meeting in February. I don't know if you're going to re-review this again for your January meeting. I don't know what our timing is on that point,
so maybe, do we need, well, do we want to just do this by email? Or do we want to go over this again in January?
I think email's appropriate.
Email?
If you're
Okay.
gonna meet on it looks like you would meet January 11th, I believe. And the board would meet January 19th. So if you wanted to review it one more time, and then, when I put the packet together for the board on Friday, we can have it for the 19th.
Right.
That's your timeline.
That works, and then I'll have a cover note done by that too. So we can
Mhm.
just, we can do the one, handle it all at once.
Yeah, and if you can get in front of them anytime, you know, we, as a group, we agree, we want to be able to provide education, even if it's a, you know, little snippet about what is an IPS and how do we use it. you know.
Exactly,
It just adds
exactly.
to that level of education.
exactly. I agree. All right, so I'll put something together and I'll run it by you guys and then, so we'll review that at the January meeting too. You know, the short 1 or 2
Yeah.
slide introduction as to what it is and why it's important. Okay. All right, so how about a applause for Mr. Burke on all the hard work he's done on this?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay, moving on to new business. I think everyone saw that email that we got from Deb Breedy on the investment returns. That was nice to see. Bob, any thoughts on them?
Nope,
No thoughts at all?
none.
Wow. Colleen?
I honestly have not had a lot of time to really digest. I read through Tom's email, but I have not had time to put a whole lot of thoughts on paper for tonight.
Tom, what do you think?
Well, you know, I went with what was provided
Right,
by Nate. Obviously, it's objective information. It is what it is. I go through a couple of kind of detailed issues that I picked up on, which I will come back and run through in a minute with you all. And so the other thing, Joe had sent something on Friday, wanted to know if this was basis points of under or over performance. And even though Joe's not here, yes, this is basis points. So the calculation is simple. It's the plan performance minus the benchmark. So a plus number, look, take 2011 as an example, plus 81 basis points for uniform means that the plan outperformed the benchmark used by the advisor by 0.81%, and so on and so forth, down the list. These numbers, I believe that was footnoted in the advisor's email. These are all net numbers, i.e. net of all expenses and fees. So this is the realized return for the both plans after all fees and expenses. And so the difference, the difference I picked up, there was, and one is a difference. So the advisor used a slightly different benchmark than we have been speaking to. And so the difference between the MSCI ACWI, which is global equities, US, developed Asia, developed Europe, and emerging markets. And he chose to use the MSCI ACWI IMI. Now, what does that mean? It's an all capitalization benchmark, whereas the MSCI is a large to mid cap benchmark and is the typically standard benchmark for global equities. The IMI is in my experience, is kind of an esoteric benchmark. It's very large. There are a lot of constituents in it because of the small caps. When you're adding small caps are small, so there's a lot more of them in the benchmark. And there are complexities to that because there is actually not an ETF for the MSCI ACWI IMI, which to me is telling because it kind of speaks to the complexity and the wideness of that index. If it made sense, the index for the ETF providers would have developed an ETF for this. So,
Tom, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Should we push back and just say, no, this isn't what we wanted, we want something else, or?
Well, I would say, and I think I kind of performance adjusted a little bit for this in the next paragraph. But I think, yes, on a going forward basis, Ed, for future performance reporting purposes, yes, we want to be clear that we wish it's the MSCI ACWI to be used as a benchmark.
Period, not the
Yeah,
IMO.
so there's not big harm done in what we are seeing in front of us, but I think it warranted an explanation. And as I said, the nuance to it is, well, so how does the all capitalization index perform relative to the mid and large? Well, there is a differentiation here, and so the MSCI ACWI that we would be using actually outperformed the IMI index over the year-to-date 3-year and 5-year period. I couldn't go back annually every year. The data just wasn't available to me. So what does that mean? So the above performance understates the underperformance if the MSCI ACWI is used. So the relative plan returns to the benchmark are actually worse. So I left it as it was because I mean, to me, that's the clearest observation I could make. And why is that? Why has one benchmark performed differently than the other? It is because of small caps. Small caps have struggled for the last couple of years, and so that is the reason for differentiation in the two benchmarks. To your point, Ed, I think on the going forward basis, we do want to be clear, and we should be using the MSCI ACWI, period.
I mean, do you think that maybe they have a point? I don't know what their point was, but since the township does invest in small caps, that it should be included. Therefore, that's why they did it that way.
I believe that's probably the thinking. However, so the IMI, we're investing in U.S. small caps, and we are overweight because they're not in the MSCI ACWI benchmark. So by owning them and they're not in the benchmark, you're making an off benchmark bet, so to speak. No, I mean, but the issue is the IMI is not just U.S. small caps. It's developed Europe and Asia and emerging markets small caps. Emerging market small caps are a huge, what is called tail in the benchmark. There are hundreds upon thousands of companies. So if this is our benchmark, my concern is that it may compel the advisor to go out and try to invest in emerging market small caps because it's in the benchmark.
And so participant devil's advocate, if we say that we don't want the small cap in there, but it's okay to go into small caps.
Yes, and so the point I make here somewhat down in my comments, that it's fine. So for the advisor to use U.S. small caps is part of their tactical strategy in how they invest the monies, and so that's okay. But it doesn't necessitate it that it's part of our benchmark.
Right.
So this is actually an opportunity. Particularly in the U.S., this is an opportunity for the advisor to add value by investing in small caps.
All right. So in a sentence or two, why are you advocating not the IMI?
It's too broad-based of an index.
Too broad-based.
Yeah.
And also, I think you also said you can't invest in that. Is that right?
It's difficult. There is no ETF for one.
Right. But
So-
there is for just the ACWI by itself.
Yes. And so for our purposes of tracking, so in other words, we'd have to back up and change the language in the IPS, because now we're putting the IMI in place of the plain vanilla ACWI.
Correct.
And so we have the page 3, we have the box. And so I'm trying to balance the logic back and forth here. So in our IPS, we only have 2 qualifications for global equities: domestic and international, period. That's it. So we're not making a capitalization call, nor should we. And so we've decided to manifest that through a benchmark of global equities, which is the MSCI ACWI. I think it adds a complication that is not necessary.
Right, so by and large, what we would expect is, but we have a conservative benchmark
Yes.
that we would expect her to be able to exceed for a variety of ways, for a variety of reasons, including the fact that we haven't factored in small caps, and she could put them in if she wanted to, if she thought
Yes.
they were a good deal.
And I think that's a fair opportunity for the advisor to add value.
Okay, I can buy that. Bob, what do you think?
I don't have any other thoughts, Ed.
Oh, do you think that's the way to go?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Colleen?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I mean, I don't see, I think we should be able to go back to Deborah's office and ask her to use ACWI because that's what we're asking for. And I don't see that should be a problem,
Okay.
if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, and you think that's a good way to go? We should go?
Yeah.
Sure, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, now just actually for my own edification is, initially I was reading this wrong. So portfolio is obviously our investment, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what exactly are you looking, you guys referring to?
I'm looking at the report that we received from Nate Baldwin back on the 23rd of November.
Yeah, portfolio is the plan. And
Yeah,
there's
can I
identical
just-
set of data for each
Can
plan.
somebody pull that up? Because I don't, I'm looking at Tom's analysis of that report.
Oh, yeah, actually, now I'm thinking about it, it's actually, I don't know if anybody forwarded it to you. My apology.
Yeah, I'm looking at Tom's letter also. That's all I have.
Well, then
Okay,
we're
all right, well then, yeah,
missing-
that's
I
our,
have
that's our
Tom's
error,
emails.
that's our
Here,
error. Is we
That's
should-
why
we
we're
should-
listening.
Yeah, we
I'm
should
missing
have forwarded,
context.
so I'll do that. My apology.
I didn't know.
I didn't notice that everyone wasn't included in this.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because actually I read Tom's first line and it refers back to this November 23rd email from Nathan. And I never received anything from him.
Okay, all right, so I'll send this out. My
And I didn't
apologies.
get it either. So
Yeah, I'll send it to
I
everybody.
just had Tom's email.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other
we'll
thing
send-
I would clarify, once we can see all of that is, I think we should let our advisor's office tell us why they're using IMI or the one, what is it?
the
IMI versus ACWI.
Yeah.
They may have a reason and we can't just assume. So that's all I would.
That's a good point. So we'll send them, we'll send these, we'll send this report out to you. My apology, I thought you'd seen it.
Thank you.
So I mean, since everyone hasn't had a chance, well, actually, so maybe, I don't know, would it be beneficial for, I think we'll pick this up, I think, next month. So that everyone has a chance to review and absorb it. But my takeaway from the report that unfortunately everyone didn't receive is that the performance was well under the discount rate. The 10-year return was for the non-uniform was 6.4%. And for the uniform, it was 6.41%. And for, as I think for the benefit of Stephanie and Sinclair and Bill, is that, the performance is well under the discount rate, and this is why we need to lower the discount rate. And this is one of the biggest reason why the performance is significantly under the discount rate, which is why we have the deficit. And so this is to me further confirmation that we're heading in the right path, that we really need to lower this discount rate. Tom, any thoughts? Any more thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's a fair observation, and that was one of the curiosities of the long-term performance. How did the 10-year returns align to the discount rate? So,
Yeah.
So when you see them on a reported basis, well, they're all over the lot, as market returns are. They're up big, they're down big,
Right.
they're in the middle, and you can't make a judgment of that, other than on the 10-year basis. Again, once you all see this email from Nate, you'll see how the data is arrayed identically for each plan. And you'll see the long-term 10-year compounded returns, as Ed mentioned, approximately 6.4% on both plans. And that clearly supports our pathway to 6. And I said it's, I say what I think, but it's a long pathway. 9 years is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, if we can do it quicker, it would be in the township interest to do it quicker.
I'm even seeing, I read it, there was an article this week I read that Wilshire, which is a pension consultant, and Colleen will recognize the name Wilshire, they've driven their long-term number down to 4.5.
And that's for what?
For a balanced asset allocation.
So for
40, it didn't specify if it was 60-40 or 65-35, but
in that vicinity.
Yeah. So the numbers are coming down, and to your point, Ed, that's the reason why the deficit grows.
Yeah, that's why we have the deficit, and that's why the deficit is increasing. Okay, so we'll pick this up next month. I apologize for not seeing that everyone was on it. Trying to think whether there's anything else. Yeah, we'll pick it up next month. And then finally,
I would just say, I'm sorry, I was on mute, but
Yep.
if Nate sends these, is he to be sending these periodically, or this was a result of us asking him to look at it?
it's a result of us asking. We talked about this in the last couple of meetings, is that one of the things that we wanted to do was before we potentially change investment advisor, we actually wanted to get the history of the returns.
Yeah.
And we finally got them.
Right. So I
And-
just thought if this is something he's sending periodically, we should just make sure we're all asking to put all of them.
Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. It's completely our
Yeah,
mistake.
it was just a one-off. Okay.
It's
No, but
no,
I was gonna say, and I believe this was a result, it was the November 16th meeting we had with Breeding.
Right.
And he sent that after,
he said that in
so
response.
that was dated the 23rd, and that was a
That's right.
one-off. That was a
so-
one-off.
That's exactly right. And so we should have forwarded. We just didn't forward it. That was my mistake. Okay, so we can take a look at it next month. But Colleen, this will basically be the format that you'll see. Colleen and Bob and Sinclair and Bill is the format you'll see in this. They will hopefully present it in December 31st. So one of the key things is, you may have seen the email from Stephanie, is they're changing their back office people to Fidelity. And so I think that's going to happen at the end of the year.
Yes. The board has to approve the, receipt and accept that information and authorize signatures. of all the documentation. I know that when you were on the call, I heard you talking to them about that. And the board has to accept it. If not, then all the people expecting a pension will have a problem come January, according to
Right.
the information they told me.
Right.
You know, but my understanding is that the reporting is a better system and everything that they have with this new firm, and she'll have more support with GW Wade and everything like that. So, and then you'll have Fidelity, which I know you guys talk about Fidelity all the time.
Yep. So the
So-
one consequence, it's certainly the reporting going forward will be good, but their system didn't sound like, Tom, is that they, correct me if I'm wrong, that they would be able to, they would be able to do performance starting January 1st, 2021 going forward,
Going forward,
but
yeah.
they wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to do any history going backwards.
No, and so, that's a compliance thing I fully understand.
Yep.
And I'm sure Colleen would as well.
Right.
We can't go back and rewrite the book.
Right.
So it's no different when you look at the long returns of these plans, when you see this email. We can't go back to 2005 and say, well, why, what happened? What it's history.
Right.
It's history. So you got to focus. We have to focus on the here and now.
Yep.
And that's why I make the last comments in that email I sent is I've been very diligent about the attribution analysis because it tells you critical information now, i.e. the last quarter, the year to date, the trailing year. Once you start moving beyond, and yes, 3-year and 5-year returns are helpful and an indicator, but you can't apply attribution analysis to 3 and 5-year returns. So the practice is for us to be diligent quarter to quarter, twice a year when we do our review. So we have a full and comprehensive understanding of what's driving the portfolios, and more information is better. That's the bottom line, and that's what we're kind of clawing our way toward that. I would hope on the forward. I don't know if that would apply to the calendar 2020, the new reporting from Greedy. It may or may not, but certainly from January going forward.
Yeah, that's right. So it'll be interesting.
I don't know what we're going to see. I don't know what we're going to see for 2020 necessarily.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see whatever she can provide us, she can provide us. So it's all right. So we will, we'll see what that is. So I'll forward the that report to everyone, so that then you can see it. And then I'll draft up an email and run it by everyone to ask, talk about the benchmark and to ask that question, Colleen, about, our preference would be the ACRI, but is there a reason why you use the IMI? Okay. All right. So moving on, I guess to our last agenda item is a quick brainstorm on what we want to do in 2021. Certainly, one of the things we're going to want to do is the move on the RFP, right?
Ed,
Yeah.
last year, I just wanted to take a minute to kind of review the 2020 objectives,
Sure.
because I think you, Joe, Tom, Colleen did a lot of work this year with and accomplished a lot, like working with the investment advisor to update the reports. I'm looking at your goals from last year, actually.
Yeah. I'm trying to find them.
Developing a recommendation for the contribution as a placeholder for the 5-year plan, and that has been done. Also coming up with a discount rate target, making it a living document. I think that has been accomplished. The pension financial graphs and sensitivities, I think you did a good job on that and presenting that to the board. I think what we still have was the RFP, the continuing ed. And we also wanted to look at cost savings and plan design. So
Yeah, well, we made those recommendations, didn't we, Bob?
we made
um,
those recommendations, but
Right.
not finalized, I don't think. I don't think they're finalized.
Okay, so what are you thinking?
So I'm thinking that's one of the goals for your
Okay.
2021.
Okay,
So I saw it as three things: the RFP in 2021.
Yep.
The develop and implement a continuing ed program for both PAC and the Board of Supervisors and the township staff and administration.
yep,
And then looking at the plan design and any cost savings we can come up with.
okay. Okay, anybody have any thoughts, any additional ideas?
I think that's great. I think it's what we talked about and just keeps us going along, what we've established, last year. So I think, we have to hear, I think, from Stephanie and maybe Jen and Sinclair and Bill, like, to do continuing education on the pension plan, right? That's, I think, two different audiences. One is the Board of Supervisors and one is the staff who are affected by the plan. I don't know if it's the same type of education and just how we would start to roll that out. I don't know how you want to talk through that, but I think they're learning a lot already. But it would be good to get in front of everyone and do periodically, just answer questions,
Right,
even if have a Q&A or.
right.
So
Yeah, so I think we've done some for the Board of Supervisors continuing ed this year, but
Yeah.
you're right, the one thing we haven't really done is meet with the staff, so that's something
Yeah.
we can hopefully get to early next year.
Yeah,
I can just add something. I just want to let you guys know that we do have meetings just amongst ourselves, the officers, and this is certainly some information that I do go back and relate to them.
Okay,
This is not a topic that most people would normally be talking about or spending their time speaking about, but when we are together, I make sure to bring this up so that the guys and gals are at least aware that this exists and that and what's going on. Behind the scenes, essentially, not behind any scenes, but just things that people don't normally see going on. So,
yeah,
got it. Yep.
that's great.
Good. Okay. Any other thoughts? We can pick this up obviously at our next meeting, but I at least wanted to kick it off. Certainly the RFP is going to be very time consuming.
Stephanie, with regards to the RFP, is there a process, a structure for the township pursuing RFPs? Regarding, never mind pension, it could be,
Yeah, pension's unique
Equipment,
because
anything.
it falls under Act 44, and I have, I think, shared with a couple of you who requested some of the information on some of the things earlier, and I have a whole folder on some of the RFPs other communities have used, and I think I sent that to you, Tom, previously,
Yeah,
that was
because
part
you
of
were
it.
going to draft, you
Yep.
were probably going to be the main drafter, but we have to follow the Act 44.
I looked at the Abington, just recently went out for an RFP.
yeah,
And their RFP is on their website. And so are all the responses that they received to the RFP.
Oh, wow.
I haven't checked it lately to see if they've made a recommendation yet, but
Right.
I believe they had 7 pretty comprehensive responses to their RFP, and they're all posted on the Abington Township website.
Okay.
And I think they sent us their information, Bob. I think I sent that around. There was a whole
Yeah.
laundry list
Yeah.
of municipalities that sent us stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think I was sending it out to everybody.
Yeah, I
So,
thought what was interesting was the responses from the RFP.
mhm. Yeah. Because I think when you asked about it, they were just starting to put it out, and I don't think they were
Right.
like 100% there yet.
Okay, any other, Jen, any thoughts about what our committee should be doing?
Right now, I mean, right now, I think the biggest thing we can do is just to keep an eye on the discount rate and keep communicating with the board why we need to make sure we invest in the future of the pension. I think I mean, obviously you guys have been doing this for a while, but it does seem to be one of those things that in the past boards have been willing to kind of dip into in order to make the budget work. So, you know, you guys have to keep out on it. But the only other thing I could think about is, and it's already addressed, is is figuring out whether we're doing the retirement structure properly in general. If there's another avenue to go besides the form that we have in our pension.
Yeah,
Stephanie, actually, getting back to the, well, I'll send out the investment returns, but also I wanted to share those returns, take the opportunity to share those returns with the Board of Supervisors at some point. Do you think maybe that could be possible and sometime, I don't know, maybe early January?
Yeah, I would do it the same night you do the January 19th.
January 19th, okay.
You could do the IPS and do any returns or whatever you want to share.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Okay, so we'll do that. So I'll draft something out with that, and we'll review it at our next meeting, at our meeting before that, and then we'll present the investment policy, and then we'll share with the Board of Supervisors what the returns were that we received from Brady's office. Okay, anything else? All right, well, we had a very efficient meeting today. We're ending half an hour early.
Merry
Oh.
Christmas.
Well, then I make a motion to adjourn and wish everybody a happy holidays.
I got a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, all right, all in favor? All right, everyone have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks for your efforts.
You as well.
enjoy.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.